It's time to start Dishin Days with your hosts, Tony Moore, Michael Mattis, Justin Lee Hareld, and Araceli Aviles. And now, let's dish. Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. Welcome to Dishin Days, where we're serving up a full dish of this week's episodes of Peacock's exclusive #1 award-winning hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives. And if you haven't already, make sure you like us and follow us on all social media platforms. We are Dishin Days Show on Facebook and Dishin Days on Twitter, Instagram, and the ever so popular Threads. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're watching us live and in living color. Just look over and make sure that subscribe button is hit, and also make sure you hit the bell notification so that way you'll never miss a live show right here on Dishin Days. And you can find us on your favorite podcast station. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Just simply type in Dishin Days and take us along on that walk, that gym pump, or maybe while you're stuck in traffic and just want to get caught up on all the shenanigans in Salem, you can tune in. And if you're missing our face while you're watching us on the podcast, go back to YouTube and see our darling faces. We look good, I promise you. And if you really want to show everyone how much you love Dishin Days, buy our merch. That's right. We have these lovely logos available. We got our Mellis Win Possess Dishin Days logo and serving up a full dish. So that way you can let everyone know that you're down with the Dishin of the Days. Head over to dishindays.threadless.com and purchase your merch today. Also, show some love to our former co-host and my chocolate twin, James Lott Jr., who is serving up his own dish of original audio dramas and all things Bold and the Beautiful, Young and the Restless, and General Hospital. So head over to JLJ Media on YouTube. Yes, that's JLJ Media on YouTube to show some love and support to the good old Quiet Storm himself. Now, before we get started, we know that you all are anxiously awaiting our thoughts on all the shenanigans that are actually happening live on the set of Days of Our Lives. And this will be our only statement regarding that. We here at Dishin Days are aware of the article from Deadline depicting the allegations against co-executive producer Albert Alar and the on-set work environment. We hope that the powers that be will do their due diligence to ensure a healthy and productive work environment for the cast and crew of Days of Our Lives. We send our love and support to all those at Days.
Absolutely.
And that's all we have to say about that. All right. What did you guys think about this week's episodes of Days of Our Lives?
It was
I
a
laughed
good
a
week.
lot this week.
I can't
I
believe
thought it was
y'all.
a good week, but I chuckled a lot this week.
Yeah.
There was a lot of chuckling. Well, I can't believe y'all sit there this whole entire time while I do all of those announcements and it's just like, there's a lot to say.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So laughed a lot during this week. What else? What other thoughts that we have?
Lots of quotables.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of quotables. I laughed so hard when Gwen asked Leah, was that a sports metaphor?
Was that a sports metaphor?
Yeah, we got a good mix of I like when they mix it up a bit where it's not, 25% of the cast is on a week or something like that. So we got a good mix of different storylines. So yeah. Good.
I thought this week was I thought it was a great week. I thought it was very interesting. I'm relieved that
Yes.
some storylines are we're like, all right, we're finally here. And then there are some storylines that are, starting to pick up. So it's good. So let's do what we always like to do, everyone. Oh, and by the way, I meant to mention this earlier. If you haven't realized already, we're pre-taped. So for us, it's Saturday. For y'all, it's Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you guys for being here either way. But we wanted to make sure you got to dish with us. And with that, it is now time to start
Dishin
Dishin
Days.
Days. That's about as close as we're gonna get. I really hate this green screen now because you can't see our lovely. Thank you.
I
Thank you
think you
so
have to
much
put
for
it like
Dishin.
closer to your face, Tony.
To my face?
Yes.
What you trying to say? Oh,
There
There
you're
it
right.
is. Yeah.
You're right.
Closer to your
now we
face.
can see
less
it.
than-
Look
There
at
you
that. I mean, what a legacy this thing is.
Mm-hmm.
This has been around since we started. 8 years.
I love it.
All right. Well, let's get down with the get down, and we're going to start with our first stop. Our first top storyline, which is the exciting conclusion of Body and Soul. I just felt like that's how they would say it.
Yeah.
It ended, thank God.
Yes, Abe was found. Bless.
Yes.
But okay. Here's the thing. For me, why were they taking so long to get over to Whitley King's apartment? It was like all this stuff was happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like no one was quickly getting to Whitley King's.
Yeah.
It was like
Well,
it was very,
and then two of them are across the country trying to bring what's his name back. They're not even in town. Black Patch chasing leads across the country.
but I just felt like the oh, I called Jada and it went straight to voicemail. You can call the station.
We said this last week. We were like, why aren't you calling everyone? Call Theo, call Paulina, call Eli, call the Brady pub.
In an emergency, in an emergency you use call, text, and yes, landlines.
Yeah.
Everybody always wants to, talk about the landlines. Okay, I'm going to talk about the landlines. You know
Araceli,
what works in an emergency? A landline.
Araceli, this wasn't your moment to plug your landline.
I'm just saying.
Which is what she clearly was trying. She made it a point to be like, newsflash, landlines.
I'm just saying.
But I felt like it was taking a long time to get to that moment of like, hey, Abe's alive and over at Whitley King's, but then I was also like, out of everyone, Marlena.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Marlena had that moment where she was like, well, I'm not doing this. Like, she had that moment where she's just like, I can't wait anymore. And she grabbed her pocketbook and headed on over.
Like, you didn't call backup? Like, no one, you can't. Raiden J for the which Raiden J.
Charlemagne De La whatever does not need backup.
Charlemagne
De La
Croix. Heiress to the LaCroix Foundation.
Yeah, I know.
Or not foundation.
Because that fits
What's the word? Not foundation.
Charlemagne De La Croix fits it.
Soda brand.
LaCroix.
Sparkling water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Anyway. No,
we don't drink it. So clearly,
Marlena had that confidence. She was like, "I got this. I don't need backup." She's dealing with a mentally ill person, and that's her specialty. So
this is true.
It's just so weird. It's so weird. Like I was just like when she went to knock on the door, I was like, "Girl, ain't nobody behind you. You ain't bring nobody." And then it's interesting because I feel like I think I said last week, all throughout this we kept just wanting to know why was she doing this, and she was just it somehow made sense because she was so full of guilt for what happened with her husband and the fact that something so simple as a space heater killed him. And that she couldn't, as a nurse, once you put the pieces of the puzzle together, it kind of makes sense. As a nurse, for 15 years, she has been there to protect so many different patients and be there for so many different people. And the one person that she loved and adored and admired, she couldn't be there for, and that was her husband. So then,
and the cats,
and the cats.
Yeah.
But
hey,
also,
that's traumatizing.
But also then, like, her love and admiration for Mayor Carver, and to see him hurt it was kind of like, nope, this isn't going to happen again. But then she ended up being the person that was hurting him the most.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of, for people who are like, oh, this storyline is so stupid. It's one of those things like you have to take the journey and just kind of put the pieces of the puzzle together, enjoy what it is that they're presenting. Because it was interesting. It was weird. It was like sad at moments. Like it took you through so many different emotions. I mean, yes, we're all glad that it's over because we could not see Abe or anybody else getting like stuck with a drug or anything. But I feel like it was a great journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I appreciate they didn't go like the typical route, like, oh, she was trying to like, oh, this is some old, like she's trying to get revenge on somebody, or she's trying to get back at somebody, or she just had some random obsession with Abe, you know, that she had to keep him. This was kind of a unique intent to her actions. So yeah, and then I thought like the kind of final scene in her apartment was really good, and it was actually like, it was kind of schmaltzy, but the fact that it was like Abe actually, you know, even in his kind of delirious state, was able to get through to her just with like, and it was kind of a little bit layered because it like showed, even though like he may have some sense of, oh, this woman, you know, is not my wife, she's keeping me hostage, she's faking me out, like his empathy for her, you know, and that's like Abe through and through, you know. Abe is everybody's hero, and so I thought that was like a really nice moment, that even though she had done all this to him and was keeping, like, he knew what he needed to do to get through to her, and it was just like a simple like taking her hand, and it was just kind of like, oh, and that's when she kind of realized that you know, she needed to go with them and get help. So,
and that's why James Reynolds has been just a master class in this storyline. People don't realize, like, like, oh, they think, oh, he's just been sitting there. That's the easiest acting he must have done. No, he layered his performances so well the last couple of weeks. Like the quiet moments in which he had to work with like the simplest of things. It was basically, his acting was stripped down to bare bones, where he had to use, he could only use his eyes, he could only use certain just hand gestures to convey what was going on inside of Abe. That's masterclass acting.
Yeah, I mean, this has been one of my favorite storylines. Just it's the simplicity of it. I think the fact that it wasn't, like you said, Michael, it wasn't some grand scheme. It wasn't like a Dimera plot. It wasn't Megan at the end. You know what I mean? It wasn't anything that grandiose. It really was just someone who was mentally unstable and dealing with a lot. And just went off the rails.
Whitley didn't escape in a submarine.
No.
Yeah. They didn't go that route. Yeah.
And now I will be forever grateful for the gift that is Body and Soul.
Yes, I really wish they would continue with the series and put it on YouTube. That is my wish.
It cracked me up every time Whitley saw Marlena, and it was like, Charlemagne, what are you doing here? I just cracked up, and I know I'm not trying to like laugh. She was mentally ill and not, but it just cracked me up. And then she's like, you're my favorite diva from my show, Body, and you're Charlemagne Delacroix. Every time Marlena came in.
No, just a little tidbit on that. That sort of interaction was pulled from real life, because Kim Coles is a big Deidre Hall fan. We were in the makeup room one day, and she sort of like fanned out on her. So like that part of it, I think the writers put that in as like a little. Let's give some. I think Kim Coles did an amazing job this whole time. Like she really gave this character. This character wasn't just some random psycho. Like this, she made this, because of her. This character had you didn't like what she was doing, but you did have a little empathy for her, especially after learning that she, you know, what she had went through, and that a tragedy had kind of, you know, tweaked her brain a little bit. And even when Paulina hauled off and slapped her, I was like, Paulina, come on.
Yeah.
Oh, what you said, Paulina, come on, like don't slap her?
Yeah, because I mean, okay, it's understandable why Paulina did it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I understand why, but at the same time, no, Paulina, I don't think had the entire
story yet.
No, and she guess what?
Maybe if she did. So I understand why Paulina did it. She took her man, held him hostage. I'm not condoning anything that Whitley did, but us knowing what was wrong with her. I was like, oh, that poor woman just got slapped across the face.
No,
I had empathy for her.
Yeah.
I was okay with the slap.
Michael Mattis, if I stole Bimby for 3 weeks and came on this show and you were like, oh, Bimby, oh my gosh, I don't know where he is. And then one day you found his collar and you're like, oh my gosh, he must be dead. And then one day I pop up with Bimby like this. And when you saw me, you wouldn't tell me you wouldn't just slap the dog piss out of me? Is that what you're
If
saying?
I didn't know that you were mentally ill and thought you were just some psychopath stealing my dog, yes, I would smack you across the face.
Michael Mattis, you already think I'm slightly mentally ill, so I think you would have just slapped me in the face.
I mean, aren't we all a little off?
Yeah, some more than others, but I enjoyed it when Paulina said, it's like, oh,
okay. So I will say this, even though I thought I was like, oh, she shouldn't have slapped Whitley. That was a class in how to deliver a soap slap and how to take a soap slap.
It was a good one.
It was and then similar to Greg and Peter's slap last week, but this was the hand went up, full execution, and the yeah. Because there's sometimes when people slap and they just go like this, and it's like, no, you need your whole body to you need to put
your whole body in there.
Yeah,
I need a slight
and if you have hair,
yeah.
So, but no, Kim Coles did a great job, and I think Kim Coles been on a soap before?
I don't think so.
Do we know?
Let me see.
No idea.
I don't think so.
I don't up her IMDb.
I am.
But I thought she did. I thought she did really good with this character throughout this whole thing, and dealing with the fast pace of soaps. I thought she did really well, really good.
Yeah.
But also, it was just nice to see her in more of a dramatic role because Kim Coles is just naturally funny and fun, and we love her as Sinclair James on Living Single. But I mean, she really just embodied this role, which is it was so good. She really took us on this journey of this very unstable woman, she has not been on a soap. I think this is her soap opera.
So I'm putting it out there. Daytime Emmy, but is it guest star? Is it guest star, guest performance, whatever that award is?
Yes, guest performance.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Oh, I was over.
I mean, we still have.
Go ahead.
We still have the amnesia part that we're still dealing with.
Right.
Yeah.
It was after Abe was rescued. Yeah.
Abe, poor Abe. Abe does not know what is going on. He's just it felt like the scene of Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
What happened? But I love the fact that Paulina and Eli and Lonnie and Theo were all kind of there to really show him no, look, because that was something that Whitley King could never kind of do, she could never really produce all these people and all this stuff, you know what I mean? So hopefully I feel like his mind is kind of okay, maybe he was deceived. Maybe these are the people. Because he was like, oh, I know who you are. I had a dream about you. I'm like, you can't just have a dream about a random person.
Yeah.
Cannot have a dream about a random person. That's crazy.
I'll say for those scenes, two things. I thought Jackie was great in it. And I know everyone's always commenting on how big and broad she is. But in those scenes, I felt like she was so toned down. And they had her and James had a really good rhythm there that I really loved. I thought she was great in those scenes. And I don't know, maybe it was me, but I really thought when he was I know who you. I honestly thought he was going to call her Lexi because they were doing the Theo thing, and I was like, are we going that far back? Is this now the next chapter where he he doesn't remember Paulina at all? So I don't. It doesn't seem like they're going that route, but I'm interested in where is it just a recovery thing now? Are we moving into a different storyline of Abe not having a memory and living without a memory? Because Days likes to do those storylines, and they probably haven't done one in a while where someone lives with amnesia, and that's its own thing.
Oof.
Yeah.
I don't know how much longer I can do
that.
I appreciate that the agent or whatever who came, the not secret agent, the marshal.
Yes, yeah.
That came to get now the name Lexi's in my head. Lonnie. Get Lonnie and take her back to jail. Was clearly a fan of Body and Soul.
Love it.
He was like, my wife watches it, whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he's one of us. One of us.
I wanted that moment of like when he mentioned that he was a fan of Body and Soul. I think they kind of did this. I think they cut to Lonnie and Lonnie kind of looked at Eli. And I wanted Eli to be like,
see,
yeah,
you're
man,
like,
I totally get it. Just like somebody to verify it. But
yeah,
I'm mad they were in such a rush to like take her back to jail though. He kept coming in like, all right.
She get because of how she now granted she probably shouldn't have been so involved, but she was involved and she did play a part in Abe getting rescued. Shouldn't this shave a little time off of her sentence? Like,
that's what I'm
thought. Sorry, let the girl come home.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought we were going to
bullshit
get.
That she's in prison to begin with.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I mean,
well, obviously, I didn't think he was going to uncuff her and be like, "You're free to go." But I thought it was going to be one of those things of like, "Wow, like you really saved your dad. You're one of the reasons why we got this. I'm going to make a report, or I'm going to make a suggestion for or even earlier parole because I think she's supposedly done."
Oh, they did mention she's up for parole soon, I think.
Yeah,
but that was already the case before this, so I thought like maybe he like we'll get you out even
by
sooner,
Christmas,
and you're out even sooner. Yeah,
yeah. I was just like, of all the people who have done stuff in Salem, she's the only one that's just still sitting in jail.
I know.
And the whole thing, and we've been through this before. Like her action that she's being punished for was in defense of her mom. We can say self-defense.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because Sean is still roaming around and he essentially did the same thing.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Sean Douglas.
Gosh.
Oh, yeah. Sean Douglas. Kristen did bad shit. Gwen did bad shit. Miranda. Damn it. Melinda. Damn it. Megan. Megan did shit. They all got pardoned.
Rolf.
Oh, that's a whole different thing.
I found it interesting for 2 seconds that Theo was trying to blame himself for what happened with Abe.
Oh yeah,
and I was like,
you're reaching.
Thought that was interesting.
But I was like, Theo, no, this ain't your fault. This ain't about you and Sierra.
I'm like, can people please stop finding fault in everything?
Oh yeah, that actually drives me insane when people say it's like everybody tries to play that honestly, this was my thing this week. Everybody tries to play the blame game, like you must be wrong, or you must be wrong, and you must be right, and you must be right. Guys, sometimes bad stuff just happens.
Yeah,
that's life.
That's life. Random bad things just happen. People. Like the Nurse King is exactly the example. Is like this. Just the act of losing her husband. It wasn't her fault. It was a freak accident. It was a terrible, traumatic tragedy. But bad stuff just happens. And if you keep trying to find a reason or blame, that you drive yourself crazy. Case in point.
That she still lives with, because the second she rolled out that heater, I was like,
why do you have it?
And she turned it on and
but then I also want to be like, I'm sorry, what year is this to where you have a space heater with a propane tank to it?
Yeah.
Like you couldn't just have like one of those electric heaters? Like what like you could go down to the CVS and just Amazon. Like what the propane gas leak carbon monoxide contraption are we use? You might as well have just like turned on the stove and said bye.
I have to say this, I did sort of get a kick out of like all the actors pretending to like choke from the gas, which was like when like Jada did it and then Marlena was like stifling her words because she was barely like choking up the gas. Like I got a kick out of it. I know it wasn't supposed to be funny, but it was like I was like, okay, you guys are committing to this. I like it.
But it's also that whole time, okay, we're just going to sit and have these long conversations with this carbon monoxide just swirling in the apartment. Like, ain't nobody going to open a window, like, or open the door or nothing like that. Like, we all just go, hey, we got to get you out.
And the door was open, so like she wouldn't have.
There was
hit
ventilation.
A flashlight. It would, yeah, it wouldn't. Like when she was like, "Stay back,"
Holding the lighter,
like,
stand back.
You can rush her. She's not. The place isn't gonna blow up. Like, come on, like the amount of gas in that old propane is not gonna blow up.
I also wish that like
just gotta go with it. Just gotta.
I wish that since the door was open, there was a neighbor that was like, "Whoo, child, y'all all right?"
Oh my gosh.
Something. I mean, that's more real.
I guess.
Why wasn't it
Y'all
Connie?
okay?
You
Y'all
mean
need
Connie?
to get out? Huh?
Connie didn't live next door.
She could have. She got to live somewhere. Okay,
She
I think
back
that's
in
it.
90s Salem.
Oh boy. I think that's it for that storyline, right? We pretty much covered everything. I think we're just now going to see like how it concludes and where they go from here with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
I hope we get Theo. I hope Theo stays in town this time
for a little bit. Yeah.
They bring him in and then they send him back. They bring him in, send him back. Keep him around.
They bring him in and then they take him out. I say they bring him in and they shake him all about. They do the Theo Pokey and they turn himself around. And that's what it's all about.
Hey.
All right, well, let's move on to, since we're already having one, a gay old time with our friends Leo, Gwen, and Dimitri. Okay. For a second, I got confused because there was a moment where Dimitri said he was alluding to he was also pretending with Leo when he was talking to Kristen.
Yes.
Oh, that was the lie from before. Yeah, he made that up when Kristen caught him. That was the lie he told Kristen.
Yeah, so he's trying to make Kristen believe that he's faking both of them out.
Yeah.
And Kristen is like, "Oh no, baby," because Rachel saw you with your sleepover.
It's funny when he brought that up again. I was like, "Oh, can you just like she's already onto you? Like you could let that rest. Like she's the ally you can have in it. You know what I mean? Like you can drop the act with her. You don't have.
You'll have to cut her a check, but you know you'll still get money. You'll still be fine.
She's already got you. Just go along with it.
I also feel like since Dimitri doesn't have his mother around, that Kristen would be the next kind of ally for him and to kind of be all knowing. So I don't know. Maybe
he knows everything.
Yeah. I just don't know where to start. It's kind of like,
okay, I'll start with I can't believe that like this is all very entertaining and I buy everything except for the moment where Gwen walks into a very naked fiance with a very turned on best friend. How do you misinterpret that situation?
Did she though? I think she's onto them actually.
That's what I was wondering. I'm like, is she actually like? And then I've been, and I've been kind of wondering that, and people have been wondering that about this whole thing. Like, is she going along with this because she knows something, and we don't know that she knows it? You know what I mean? But then, like, when you come in and you see your gay best friend and your hot fiance in his undies, like, and then it's like, oh, because he was going to try on a suit.
Girl, y'all ain't even the same size.
Or then it's like, oh well, Maddie just wanted to see you naked. I'm on, blah blah blah, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, the reason I'm getting that is because we just had that episode 2 where they had that little awkward exchange about him saying no to her, and I felt like they were trying to say like she, even though he said no to her and it was sort of innocuous, she got so upset about that. I was like, when Gwen did, remember when they want to have sex?
You said it was
a big word.
Who?
You used a big word. You used a big word.
Yeah, it wasn't me this time.
And not the who?
It wasn't a big deal. So Gwen got really upset about it, and I was like, her mind is turning. Like in the back of her head, she knows something's up. And then when she caught them, I was like, I mean, maybe I could be wrong, but I kind of feel like maybe she's onto them and she's going along for the ride for some reason.
I mean, for some reason, I just feel like at some point, instead of just keeping up with the Joneses, Dimitri can just be like, listen, I'm about to get all this money. I really don't want to be with you. I want to be with him. Let's just keep it cute for a year. You'll get paid off. We're done. You know what I mean? Instead of this whole like, oh, we're gonna keep a secret and like all these moments of like when she almost found out, like when the phone was buzzing, and she's like, well, who's MP? I was like, first
And
of
it's
all,
like, well, she should, and it's like
you shouldn't have been all up in his phone like that.
Well, and she and Leo have had conversations where Leo has called him Magic Penis before. So she hasn't made the MP Magic Penis Dimitri. She hasn't connected those dots yet, at least outwardly.
Yeah, I can understand.
And I'm like, is that going to be like? And if she does, if we're wrong and she wasn't clued in by what she walked in on, is that going to be what finally the ding goes off where she finally makes that connection? Like MP Magic Penis Dimitri, yeah.
I hope so, because it's if it's not a fake out, it's really, really, really sad.
Yeah, and it doesn't really like. And I know she's been through the ringer with Xander, but other than that, like it's not really like it wouldn't be Gwen to be duped like that.
Yep.
At some point, your gaydar goes off. At some point, like it's really, really, really not subtle.
Well, at some point, your whole body should be a radar as to this whole situation. Like, y'all ain't known each other but for a couple of weeks, a month at that. And now you're standing and first of all, like, I'm sorry. If someone was serious about marrying me, y'all didn't make no arrangements beforehand. Like, you just walk in on the same day that Gabby and Stefan. It's like, oh, well, guess what? We're going to have two. It's like, well, what was y'all's original plan? Like, were y'all just going to go to the courthouse and get it happen? And then you just realize, oh, we can, you know what I mean? And don't nobody, I was with Gwen. She said, when they were like, we're going to have a double wedding, she was basically like,
flashbacks.
Like a deja vu. No, not again.
And we all know double weddings don't go well in Salem.
No.
Like I really wish there was someone on the cast who was who was like a representative of us. That when like as soon as they walked in, it was like, what's going on here? We're having a double wedding. Oh no, one of y'all ain't getting married. Something. I'm like, I don't know what kind of secrets y'all got, but something is about to be exposed now. No double wedding for me. Let me go grab the popcorn right now.
Although I appreciate that that Stefan and Gabby were kind of like, you know what, that they folded quickly because they were like, you know, at this point, what have we not been through?
Yeah.
I appreciate, like on the flip side of it, I loved Stefan and Gabby this week because it's just a reminder that they're so in sync. They're so perfect for each other. Like they really they've been through everything. There's no question that they love each other. There's no question that they work. That you know, they're at this point like let's just get this done because we already know we're made for each other.
MFEO.
Yeah. So let's
made
see
for each other.
Yeah, but let's see who actually gets married.
Well, yeah, let's see. Like it's already been halted thanks to Leo.
And I also go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna ask what we thought of the some things. One thing I appreciate about weddings is like the getting ready. You know, like the bride getting ready and blah blah blah, and those scenes like between whoever. This time it was Gwen getting ready with Leo, and then Gabby getting ready with Kristen, and Kristen offering this piece of Dimera jewelry that's blue and old and borrowed and fits
really
all
does look like
whatever.
it came off the Titanic.
Yeah. but I don't remember like I know that Gabby sided with or Kristen sided with Gabby, right? I'm trying to remember that whole Dimera debacle. Like Kristen sided
there's
with
history
Gabby
between them,
Yeah, there's history. So I thought that was a nice moment. Even though I'm like, I don't really see them being like sisters or anything, but
no. They don't
nice
hate
moment.
each other. It's not to the point of like where Megan would like want to kill her.
Yeah, I think with Kristen, as long as you're not in her way, she's fine. Do you know what I mean? Like she's not in a fight with Gabby over anything, so it's like she can be friends with her, you know.
Yeah. Or they can coexist and it'll be fine. It's like the way that EJ and Stefan are right now. Like they coexist. They have a common enemy. It's fine.
Yeah, I guess I just appreciated that little tender moment between the two,
No,
and then
nice.
Gabby was trying to say like, maybe Brady will eventually see the light. Of course, and I'm just like,
throw her a
okay,
bone.
Gabby, but but I thought it was just a nice moment between the two.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it makes sense because
it
makes sense because Kristen was the one that secured her spot in Dimera with her vote. So they have a bond.
Yes, and the dresses were beautiful. The jewelry was beautiful. Except I love the top of Gabby's dress, but the bottom looked like it belonged in 1973. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
It looked like a wedding at Woodstock, the bottom. Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if anybody picked up on this. Yeah, like I don't know if anybody picked up on this. Like it's a thing of like you don't notice when something looks right, but you notice when something looks very, very wrong. I hated Rafe's tie. I know it's a weird thing to look at, but
I did notice it.
Red and blue polka dots on a black tie.
It was a strange thing, yeah.
Yeah, it's like it was such a small thing, and I wouldn't have noticed it if it just didn't look so wrong.
Well, I appreciated Miss Jada Hunter because I was like, okay, we haven't seen her dolled up since New Year's, and maybe she came out with her pink and stuff, and she was just like, "I'm the plus one."
No, that pink is such an underrated color.
It was cute. It was more like it wasn't like pink. It was more like a fuchsia.
Yes, it's beautiful.
She looked great, and I appreciate those moments where like we just don't see her always in a pantsuit.
Yeah.
No offense to.
I mean, even when they do have her in a pantsuit, like she's slightly dolled up, but this is like night out.
But this is like, you know, and she always answering that door with a towel on. Like, girl, if you don't put on a muumuu or something before you answer the door. And whatever happened to enter, like when you're in a towel, whatever happened to entering the door, you know, like this, like
behind the
like
hello.
Hey, who that? Okay, just give me a second.
I guess if she knew it was gonna be Rafe, but
she knew it was her man. She was just like, I'm just home showering, waiting on you.
Okay, I'm gonna put this out there. I don't think this is the case, but who knows if it'll pop up next time. They explained Gwen's dress, but it could also be pregnancy. I don't think it is. But I don't think it is. But I put it like, is this a little hint? Is it one of those things where they're laying the groundwork for? I don't think it is.
No,
we don't need no more babies in Salem.
No, because
we have 3 pregnancies. Oof.
Yeah, because they said that people were saying that a couple weeks ago about Gabby when the same comment was made about her dress, and then it was
I did, yeah.
But yeah, I agree. It's like please stop saying that unless you're actually going to go somewhere with it, and also just stop saying it because I'm sorry, but sometimes we have water weight. It happens.
I mean, I have water weight all the time.
Yeah,
it happens. Nobody needs to comment on it constantly. Yeah.
Well, we'll see what happens with this gay old time. I mean, I'm rooting for, you know, them to be like, you know, the Three Stooges almost, and you know, Gwen is in on it, but just lets Leo and
hijinks ensue.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very that. So I don't know. We'll see. All right. Well, let's head on over to the circus. That is Melinda, Li, Connie, Tripp, and Wendy.
That was something.
Oh, congratulations, Julie Dove, for reprising her role as Connie in the midst of this whole matchmaking thing that's
Matchmaking mess.
happening in Salem. Oh, yes, your song, Michael Mattis. Matchmaker, matchmaker, make me a match. Find me a find, catch me a catch. I'm also singing the song for me, because I'm single. um, interesting that Melinda and Li thought they were being set up again, and then it turns out that Li was there to meet Connie, and Alex was there to meet
Dear God.
Melinda. She
How disappointed would you be if you were Melinda? You'd messed up your date with Li. You showed up, and then Alex Kyriakis, known gigolo, shows up, and you start to, and I'm telling you, she's probably started to think, ooh, I'm getting some dick tonight. And then for him to go into that whole thing about, oh yeah, the meaning, I'm really in it for a long, I was like, she's probably so fucking disappointed right now. She probably thought she had it in the bag.
That at that point, like I know y'all know I like to drink. At that point, I would quit ordering wine and start ordering vodka.
well,
Because that's
bring the bottle.
just like what, like, oh God, oh.
But you saw her kind of go through the emotions. I think at one point she was looking at him like, "Hello."
Yeah.
And then there were moments where when he mentioned something about just like having meaningless sex, you could see in her mind she was like, "I'm down," especially it
That's
was
when she
you.
like at some point she started like stroking his hand.
Yes,
Yeah.
but
Like, oh,
I think the more he
sure.
kept talking and taking off the glasses, she was just kind of like, "Baby, listen, this just ain't gonna work for me." Like, you know, at one point I was down with the get down, but the more you keep talking, the more I'm just like, go home, Alex. Just
and
go
this is
home.
what I always say. You guys always say, we've had this conversation. Like you wouldn't if you saw him, you wouldn't be dickmatized. And I'm like, this is my argument. Here's the thing. They're always hot until they open their mouths and start talking.
Then there's just
well, let me say he wouldn't went home with me, even if he was annoying. I mean that you can separate the two. I'm still going home.
No. I was like throwing up in my mouth.
I'm not dating you, but I'm going home with you.
Oh God.
I mean,
well, there comes a moment where you just go, shh.
Yeah.
Let's go. And then you
Melinda
get home
Trask
and you just turn off the light.
Has a level of shadiness and pettiness with her replies that I strive for. Because when Connie was like, oh, sorry, I'm late, the circus is in town, and she was like, are you looking for work? I was like, oh, that is like solid burn, not skipping a beat. I was just like, cheers to you, Melinda Trask.
And that went over Connie's head.
Yeah.
She was just like, oh no, traffic. Like if it had been me, I would have been like, no, it was traffic, bitch.
Just the level of honesty, the level of pettiness, and the level of just straight talk from Melinda Trask. It's the Melinda Trask I love to see it, but twice as much because she's all dolled up and she's excited. She's out of the office. It's so great to see. And then we get the bonus, the reminder of the history with Trip, and it's not just like, oh, she had Haley, this was her daughter, blah blah. It's the reminder that Trip still has a great level of respect for Melinda Trask, and I think that gets missed a lot because they're
Haley and that they were married.
Yeah, it's not just the history of Haley as a character. It's that, her memory still lives on with these people that were left behind. And that's why, not a lot of people know Melinda in that way, but Trip does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that vulnerable side, and know that, like, she went through that was a lot, like finding out that Haley wasn't the sister, but the daughter, and and all that history behind it, and she ended up dead, and it was just, I'm sure it was a lot, and it's something that bonded them. Choked up Wendy though, because Wendy was eating her her spicy whatever meal that was, and was like, "Oh yeah, I was married to her."
Mm-hmm.
Wendy and Trip have become like I'm now waiting for something to happen because their relationship is great.
Mm-hmm.
It's very cutesy. However, comma,
Mhm.
it's already like, listen, I don't know what salt and pepper seasoning y'all using, but I'm gonna need y'all to add some paprika, garlic powder, some basil, season all something to this relationship before it gets stale.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
It's
just
still
saying.
new. We need to give
Yes.
them a little breathing room before we light a
I mean,
match under them.
she took 2.5 years to decide who she wanted to be with.
And it's also the fact that they live together, so it's like ready-made couple. You know what I mean? It makes them seem like they're older and that they're more they're well into their relationship than they are because they already live together now. So it's like,
Well, they also look like parents because every time they try to have a moment, here comes the kids flipping on the
Li.
light like Lee.
Yeah.
Being like, "Oh, so sorry." Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, boom, 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 boom. My life is a mess since Gabby left me. I guess that's the Lee voice.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say when her and Sloan, which was another thing I appreciate it, but when Sloan was talking about Lee and she's like, he's rich, and then they cut to Lee being in the 3-bedroom apartment with his sister and Trip, and I was like, oh, not a great top, but yeah,
Not so much.
like,
I do like the bond that is slowly forming between Melinda and Lee, and I like the fact that even Lee was very much like, the whole time, and Melinda, I felt like there was no point where Melinda was doing that. She was just all into Alex, but Lee was just like,
no, there were a couple times where she grabbed Alex's hand because she saw Lee was looking, and she
Yeah.
She was just more subtle about it.
Playing along.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She was playing along from the minute that girl showed up.
oh yeah, she was like,
Exactly.
girl.
And I
all
like
right.
how Connie just relived her best late 90s Salem life,
I know,
mentioning
she did.
every fucking place. I was like,
history update from Connie,
yeah.
But when she rubbed that foot
Oh my!
against
I
Lee,
felt it. I felt like every bone in Lee just tense up. Like no.
there was, but you know what? There's an art to doing that. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
when you do that, it's like it's supposed to be just like a smooth, like with like the sickening pump on, and it's just kind of like that, and she's like giving you the eye as she.
It's a grace.
But and listen, this is no shade to Connie, but girl, you can't do that same move in like a sandal.
No.
With your foot
Well,
not
if it's
like
a cute wedge.
pointed or arch, like it literally looked like as awkward as it was supposed to because it was just like I was like that don't look sexy at all.
No.
I did like that she was like, I don't care if you tried to kill people, I like a bad guy.
Oh,
I thought like, okay, that's kind of cute that like, she
Well,
recognizes where she lives and that what's going on in town and is like, listen, like the dating pool is slim, so I better.
This is an online dating horror story.
I mean, Connie may end up being the character that like we all need and say she's that character that we come into. Oh my God, are y'all okay? I'm just trying to get ready for my date, and like I just smell gas.
Yeah.
Or like the woman, the nurse at the hospital being like, "Oh my God, these people, geez Louise! I mean, who's coming back from the dead this week?" Like that kind of character.
Yeah, she would. I mean, she would be the true crime podcast person.
Well, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
She would do very well with a spectator podcast.
We like it. All right. Well, that's our quick visit to the circus. And before we move on to our tidbits, we want to remind you guys of a couple of things. One, follow us on all social media platforms they're there. 2, subscribe to our YouTube channel. 3, go find us on your favorite podcast station. 4, buy our merch. And 5, us. That's it. Michael Madison is like, there's no 5. There's no 5. Where's the 5?
I'm like, there's no 5.
But let's head on. Let's head on over to our tidbits. Gee, I wonder what the DNA test will show. I'm sorry. So when I saw the cover of Soap Opera Digest and it said that Eric's the father, I have never been so livid. I do not want Nicole's baby to be Eric's. I'm sorry. Eric and Nicole, fans. But I still feel like, and I stand firm with the fact that this ship has sailed. We no longer need the drama of Nicole and Eric. Please because if not, we're just going to get a Kristen and Brady all over again.
Yep.
I was like, and I know that they are fictional. Feel mad at the situation.
Yeah.
The problem
and that
is
all I have to say about that. I don't want this to be his baby, and I said what I said.
Well, this is understandable. I feel the same way, but I think the issue is you guys had hope. I never for a second had hope. Did I want the situation to work out the way I wanted to? Yes. Did I have any shred of hope that it would? No.
Yeah. When Sloan was reading that, I was like, oh, come on, really? We're okay.
It's so predictable. It was like yeah.
And then the audacity of her to find out about the genetics test and then go and get Nicole's results. And then the nurse was just like, oh, no problem. Here you go. I wanted to be like, now listen, you have lived in Salem long enough because actually remember the nurse that I was talking about like last week or a couple of weeks ago that I said that I did background work with and I like that she pops in? That's her. And so the fact that it's like you've been in Salem, you've been behind, looking at the files and stuff. So you should know what everybody looks like. You should know that that's Sloan Peterson. You should know that that is not Nicole Walker. And you just gonna give her the test result. So Sloan's like, it's Eric's baby. You shouldn't have the results in the first place. Oh, I'm so mad. This storyline.
The whole thing was clunky, and even the reveal that there's no genetic, genetic whatever the term was with EJ Dimera, no genetic match, no genetic match. It was such an understated reveal too, and it was just like, okay, it wasn't even like a suspenseful no genetic match, it was just like, by the way, no genetic match. And it was just like, I don't know, it's just it fell flat. This whole thing is falling flat, just very clunky.
It's like, how many children are we giving this one character? And then we're slowly getting the reminders of Jada's baby it's like, oh god, like this character has had at this point, the character of Eric has had, or will possibly have, we'll see, 4 children in the last 5 years. It was Mackenzie. It was Jada's. Now Sloan is pregnant. Now Nicole's pregnant. Come on.
Oh, that was the thing I noticed going back to Jada. When someone mentioned Nicole, she was like, so sad. And I was like, good job, Jada.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just so glad that Rafe and Jada just removed themselves from this situation. And you can tell the relief on their faces when they're talking about it. They're like, thank God we're out of that mess.
Well, Jada did say she was able to separate herself because she said, I would feel a different way if Nicole was pregnant by Eric. She did admit that.
Yeah.
Well,
So we'll see.
I feel like this. I just wish it was like the storyline would go different. Like I wish that Nicole was having EJ's baby, but then Sloan popped up and she was pregnant with Eric's baby, and maybe the tiff is if you wanted the whole Eric Nicole thing was like now Nicole feels some kind of way because she wanted to be the one that had a like have that instead of now Eric got 2 babies.
Yeah.
Now, there could be an unknown third party who did some kind of, for whatever reason, did some kind of switcheroo with the DNA test that what's his name took.
The genetics test?
Why are you making it more complicated?
That's always a possibility. You never trust the results in this town. They can flip it one way. They can years later. They can. Oh wait, no. Remember when we did that? Well, that didn't actually happen, or that didn't happen this way, or shit went down this way. They can do it all kinds of ways to make this baby not Eric's, or to even make Sloan's baby not Eric's.
You're living.
But yes, as of now, Eric has 2 babies, but we can hold out hope that maybe one of them isn't actually his, and that there's some DNA fairy in the background pulling strings.
It was Connor.
It always happens that way.
I'm just gonna live in my disappointment. It's better to live there and deal with the acceptance.
Yeah.
The end.
Exactly. Moving on to the other circus in town, which is
they're just never not frustrating. These two, never not frustrating. They're their own worst enemies when it comes to this situation. Like the moment Belle was with Brady and almost had him, Kristen had to come back. Well, did he sign it? And I was like, girl,
it's like she was in the car.
He's not going to now because you just barreled in the door. Leave him alone.
He's like, did you guys come here together?
I love Bill was like, listen, it doesn't matter. We came together. Like, just sign the damn thing.
It first of all, it was the walking into somebody's house, and then secondly, it was the stance. It was the stance of being like
so aggressive.
Well, did she sign it? It's like, girl, calm down.
Oh God,
I can't. I'm over it.
I know, me too.
It's a simple solution. This has been going on long enough. Please allow Kristen to go concentrate on something else other than Brady and Rachel. Like this whole situation just keeps.
Yeah,
we're over it. Like Kristen Dimera is too mighty of a woman to get hung up on Brady Black.
Yeah. We have talked this to death at this point, and my thoughts are the same as last week when we talked it to death. You're a bad parent. Send the kid to boarding school. The end.
Well, the kid needs to get sent to boarding school because she's just bad.
Yes. No. Yes.
That was my Rachel.
No.
Anyway, can we move on now?
Yeah.
Yes. But
last but not least. Wait, what is this? Alex needs to learn what Pornhub is.
He needs to learn that if he's got nothing to do, he can find something to do without interfering with Alex and Stephanie's.
You mean Chad and Stephanie?
He can open his laptop and paint the walls.
Okay, this storyline went in so many weird. It went in a perpetual circle for no reason, and the ending made no sense to me. Did anyone else understand
the way that Stephanie was just like, okay, like looked at Chad like, oh, we need to invite him? I was like, no, that makes absolutely no sense.
I was like, what are you doing? It made no sense.
Yeah, exactly. What are you doing?
Boundary for him, and it seemed like he was kind of fishing for it, but it was like you guys set up actual boundaries. You got over the little shoving match you had from the misunderstanding. And then, you're like, why would she look? And then why would Chad say, I was waiting for him to say, well, have a good night. See you later, Alex.
Yeah, exactly. Have a good night and leave. But then she gave Chad that look, and I was like, wait, what are you doing?
No.
You've just undone any progress you have made with this situation.
Well, you just undone the whole conversation that you had about
exactly.
you being like you're being a jerk. You know that you were like just doing the most, and then he's like he recognizes that, leaves, then comes back and is like, "Well, which shirt should I wear?"
Yeah.
And
then like Michael Madden said, him being who asked? I think Chad was trying to make small talk. Oh, what are you doing with the rest of your night? And it was just like, I don't know. My date didn't go so well. Doom, ba doom, boom, ba doom. And then Stephanie's like, and then he's like, "You want to come to the pub with us?" And it's like, none of that makes any sense. At some point, you just go and even Stephanie should have been Stephanie had done it. Oh, I'm sorry to hear about your date.
Yeah.
Bye.
Alex. Yeah.
I mean, just what is the point? What I mean, forget the storyline. What is the point of this man? That's where I'm at right now. What is the point of this man and his face and his stupid fake glasses?
See, what I think they're doing, which I don't like, I feel like they're now sacrificing the character of Alex to bring drama or interest to the Chad-Stephanie relationship. This wasn't Alex before. He was never this annoying. He was never this hung up on things like that. Now, all of a sudden, he's a pest who can't take social cues. Like, come on.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean,
because the thing about it is, I think he would be a little more slick with it, right? Like he would be the one that maybe knows Stephanie's schedule and knows like, okay, around this time she's going to be leaving the apartment. Oh, I'm going to, like pretend like, oh, I just went for a run and and just sitting there dripping sweat so she can be like, oh, moments like that.
Yeah.
But the way that they have him, it's like no, this character when he came to Salem was very. I mean, he could almost come across as a narcissist, but he was very confident. 100%. Like he knew of himself. He knew that like I can walk into the Brady pub and get that girl. You know what I mean? Like we know that this may be puppy love because he keeps referring to Stephanie as like the love of his life and all this kind of stuff. But I don't think that would change the player in him.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. Are we done?
One thing I just want to mention, when Dimitri came to the door to invite them to the wedding, okay, that was funny. But the part that actually made me chuckle, where I was like, girl, where he said something like, oh, Stephanie, you're Gwen's family too. And then she was like, I'm also Abigail's family. And in my mind, immediately popped, and you're with her husband now. You're with her husband now. A year later, you're living with him. Like, girl, I wouldn't be throwing out the family comment so quickly.
It was Chad going through the history of like everything that had been done to them. In a very like, we'll come, but there was that thing where he kind of drugged my wife and did it. I was like,
that was the only part of this that made me smile. That was it was a good little chuckle, and it was very much in line with Dimitri's character.
I like that he isn't holding grudges, or he isn't like none of that stuff is phasing him, and especially with the stuff with EJ and Stefan too. He's just like, I'm not here for you. Like I'm not plotting anything against you. I'm not like you're worried about me. Like I'm not even thinking about you. I got my own secrets over here I'm worried about. And
like Dimitri isn't even like in the Dimera like realm of like he got his own stuff going on.
Exactly.
All right.
Everyone's so impressed about him, and he's
well, the circus has now left town and moved on to another one, and that has been your circus-filled week of Days of Our Lives. And now we are heading into our favorite part of the show, which are our segments. And we're going to start with mine, with Tony's official 3 Snaps Award.
Oh, snap!
Okay, so listen, my 3 snaps goes to Nicole's ponytail. Because let me tell you, when I saw this, I thought to myself, first of all, I love a high pony, but this was like a high, not full pony, but mid pony.
Half pony,
but
yeah.
a half pony. But when I tell you, every time she like moved, it gave like Jan Brady like ponytail, and I enjoyed it for like the few days that she was wearing it. And it made Ari Zucker look so good and so chic and just, I mean, with the dress and the earrings and everything, she was giving it. So to the hairstylist who gave her this ponytail and to the ponytail itself, you get Tony's official 3 Snaps Award.
Oh, snap!
Also, you notice the pony held up from one day to the next.
Yes,
It
yeah.
sure
That's
did.
hard.
You know, she like slept like.
Oh well, first of all, she when she wrapped her hair, she either wrapped the ponytail down or it was up, so that she laid back like this, and then she just had to sleep like this, and she had to tell EJ, I gotta keep my ponytail.
Of course,
and
then I was like, wow, that must have been a long ass day for Ari if she had to tape all of the scenes from the previous episode. And like, is that what happened? Like, it was all one tape day, and they were just like, oh, the hair's the same.
Yep.
Oh well.
Well, listen. Well, guess what? Guess who was fresh, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and bouncing the whole time? Pony. Ari, girl, send it to me so I can have it. You know what? I just thought about this. Like, if we were in a studio and we like had a set and everything, I think our set would be very reminiscent of Andy Cohen's Clubhouse, where like a lot of the props were of stuff from Days. That would have been fun. Oh
I
well.
can see it.
Yeah. Anywho. And now it's time for
Caption that.
All right, this week's I turned loop off, but it's still looping. Anyways, this week's Caption That photo comes courtesy of Kristen spying on Dimitri's texts, and this week's caption goes to Jason Weaver from Twitter with his caption of Kristen saying, "Get off Grindr. The security at the Dimera mansion is tighter than anything you'll find on there."
Oh, God.
Well, what Jason Weaver should have said was get on Grindr because the security at the Dimera mansion is just as loose as everything you'll find on there.
Oh!
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. And that has been
Caption that.
And now it's time for
Those were the days.
Yes, taking you back to July 28th, 1995, where Sammy interrupted Carrie and Austin's wedding, not with two big surprises. One, that she had slept with Austin, and two, that she was pregnant. This to me is the definitive time where Sammy became Sammy. Because before she drugged Austin and she did that, and that was really treacherous and crazy. But this is where she really started to get manipulative. This is when she came back from running away to LA. She planned it so she would interrupt their wedding. She planned it so she would faint when they were at the altar. She planned it so that it would come out and she would be the sort of disadvantaged teen taken advantage of by Austin. And this was when Sammy sort of like recognized her power for scheming and leaned into it. So yeah, July 28th, 1995, where Sammy interrupted Carrie and Austin's first wedding.
Iconic.
Yeah, that was like appointment television back then. Yeah.
And
Those were the days.
And now it's time for
It's a gift.
And this week's It's a Gift goes to the one and only Jada Hunter with my thoughts.
Elia Cantu is so good at serving face, honey. Yes. She is so good at serving face.
The shade, the sarcasm.
Yeah.
Love it.
What a shame. Poor thing.
Love it.
Give it to us one more time.
Yes.
It's everything.
Yes.
And that was
It's a gift.
And now it's time for
News and gossip.
I never get tired of hearing these sound bites.
Starting off, we have a little bit of casting news. The lovely friend of the show, Cassie DePaiva, is returning as Eve Donovan. I believe this month, or not this month, but August, I believe. So yeah, we will see Cassie back as Eve. I know she's always been a fan favorite of ours, and yeah, we'll see how. I'm guessing maybe there's some stuff with Harris Michaels there that is the connection that he has and that she has. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, Cassie will.
I want to know what kind of high fashion dress she's going to come back in. Because remember the last time she came in?
Oh, with like during that New Year's Eve.
With
that was an entrance.
Fashion.
Yeah. She's still in prison, right? I think she's still. Yeah. Well, as far as we know. That's when she comes back, but yeah.
All right, and next up, congratulations are in order for Sean Christian, formerly Daniel Jonas. He is helming a new online show based on his new residence called Tahoe Tonight, about the adventure, culture, and entertainment in the city. So you can check out his new show on the apps, Outside Watch and Outside Plus.
Cute.
Yeah, congrats. Next up, we have some birthday celebrations. Actually, both of these, Martha Madison and Eric Martzoff, actually both on the same day, which is a cute fact. That July 27th is their birthdays, and yeah, if you've been on social media, you've seen the numerous shout outs individually and then one to each other, because they, of course, they're sort of celebrate every year. So yeah, big happy birthday to both of them.
And then today, Saturday, is Brian DeTillo's birthday,
and
Kevin Spiritus' birthday. So
yay!
A lot of July birthdays.
Camila celebrated her birthday too.
We said that last week.
Did we say it last week?
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, lots of July birthdays.
I pay attention sometimes.
Lots of July birthdays. It's like July and October. There are a lot of birthdays on days. It's like the last week of October. It's like 50 birthdays.
Yeah, we should just have one big cake. Like if they're all on this at the same time, just get a giant cake, one of those big anniversary cakes, but for every birthday, layers.
Some Porto's cake, some tres leches.
Don't make me hungry. Okay, and then next up we have finally we have very.
What'd you say?
She was like, "Don't make me hungry," and then I put this photo up. I'm like, "Sorry."
What I have to work with. Anywho, upcoming dates for the Day Players Band tour. This week, the Day Players will be in Phoenix, Arizona. If you're in the state, go check them out. Go to their website, thedayplayersband.com, for tickets. And then your next opportunity to see them is going to be not going to be until November. They'll be in Huntsville, Alabama, November 4th, and Nashville, Tennessee, November 5th. All right? Because people got to work. People got multiple jobs. So get on it.
And if you go to Phoenix, take water and sunscreen, because it's like 112 there.
It's hot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like devil's asshole hot. So
hot.
We're prepared.
Mm-hmm.
And that has been. Oh, was that it?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
News and gossip.
And now it's time to find out what is coming up this week on Peacock's Days of Our Lives.
And we have the actual promo. We don't need Tony to give us a play-by-play.
Good.
Is Eric the father of Nicole's baby?
There's only one thing I can do.
What the hell happened to my test results?
Sloan got your test results? Chloe Lane, will you marry me?
I'm sorry, Gwenny, I can't let you marry this man.
Eve Donovan. I was a total jerk back then.
Guess I always had a knack for revenge.
Days of Our Lives.
Wait, is Eve in Bayview?
I guess
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Mm-hmm.
Was she
Maybe
sent
it's
to
like
Bayview? Okay, so I need a refresher about what happened after she brainwashed Ben.
She went to prison, I believe.
She did go to prison.
Yeah, the last thing I remember was her having a converse, because this was way, 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 way back when she thought she had killed Sierra. She thought she had inadvertently been responsible for killing Sierra. And the last thing I remember was her having a conversation with Hope. Damn, it has been a while.
It has been a while. I need a refresher.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I'll go online.
Yeah, but that's going to be interesting. And that's actually interesting for those two actors as well, because they were on sister shows for the longest time. These two are like daytime staples, but they've never had any crossover. And that's always interesting to me when you have like people who were on like one show for decades and they've never had a chance to interact with each other. And then like not even like I don't even know if they saw each other at fan events back in the day, and then this is the first time they'll be working together. That's always really like you never know what dynamics are going to come out of that.
Yeah, it's true. Well, this has been a dynamic show. Thank you guys for watching Dishin Days for this week. But before we head out, Michael Mattis.
Yeah.
Where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at MLMattis. Some good Bimby content on there. Actually, it'll probably be gone by the time this airs, but...
Well, then put it back up, Michael Mattis. So that
I'll have to put it back up. I have to just give you more.
Well, the person who gives us a little bit, Justin.
Wow.
Where can they find you?
Wow.
That's shade.
I'm on Instagram at Justin Lee Hareld.
Just Instagram. That's it. That's the little that he's going to give you. Just Instagram. While Araceli is like Brittany and gave us more.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter, Mourning the Dead Bird at Tia323 Araceli.
Justin Lee Hareld, don't you scoff at me because you only got one little social media platform.
I'm fine. You're the one with the issue. I'm fine. Because you're all so happy on Twitter. You're so joyous about being on Twitter all the time. Yeah.
This is true.
Well, I don't really use Twitter, but you can find me on it. You can find me on all social media platforms at Lounging with Tony. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, YouTube, TikTok. I almost said TikTok. Same thing. You can find me at Lounging with Tony. You can find all of us on all of our social media platforms for Dishin Days. We're Dishin Days Show on Facebook and Dishin Days on Instagram, Twitter, and Threads. We thank you guys so much for joining us on this lovely pre-taped Sunday. Hope you guys have enjoyed yourself, and that we have, and we've been watching. We've been noticing the chat room. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed chatting among yourselves. But we'll be back live and in living color next week as we give you our dish on this week's episodes of Peacock's exclusive #1 award-winning hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives. Until then, stay safe, stay cool, and we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.